In the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna explains his doubt. This is not something that we can take lightly. Arjuna found himself in a situation where he had to fight his own kinsmen. He was a trained warrior, and his duty impelled him to fight for the right cause. However, at the same time, he is a human being, and the prospect of having to fight his own kinsmen is harrowing. If he will not fight in the war, he will live the rest of his life in shame, and for an honored person like him, dishonor is worse than death. Incapable of finding a way out of his dilemma, Arjuna turns to Krishna, who is playing the role of his charioteer. Since Arjuna is addressing Krishna as a friend, Krishna reciprocates, encouraging him as a friend will do. My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna quickly understands that this talk will not lead him anywhere. Friends talk at the same level, therefore rarely a friend can give us a solution for a serious dilemma, even if he has the knowledge to do so. Friends can talk for a long time, arguing and counter-arguing, but this rarely leads to any real solution. There was no time for that. Arjuna understands that Krishna has a solution for his dilemma, but to access it, he will need to put Krishna in a higher position, so he will be comfortable to correct him and speak the hard truth if necessary. And that's what he does. With tear in his eyes, he begs Krishna to become his spiritual master and help him to overcome his doubts. Talks between master and disciple are serious, and a spiritual master has the authority to correct his disciple when necessary. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is the best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Then something unexpected happens. Instead of reflecting on mundane morality, Krishna gives him a surprising answer, bringing the conversation to a new level. Arjuna was speaking wise words, but Krishna says he was acting like a fool, mourning for what is not worth of grief. His relatives will not die in the battle, nor could he be killed, Krishna said. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worth of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, or sign of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Most of our lamentations are due to identification with the material body. This identification leads us to accept as ours everything connected with the body: friends, relatives, properties, social position, honor and dishonor, pleasant and unpleasant situations. All of this is connected with the body and not really with our real identity as the soul. We experience happiness and distress just like one experiences heat in the summer and cold in the winter. Just like the seasons, both come and go as part of a cycle that we can't control. A wise person understands this and therefore learns to go through the happy and painful moments of life without being disturbed. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. It has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Death means the destruction of the body, but we are not the body, but the soul, a particle of consciousness inside the body. The body is nothing but a machine that we use. The same way a driver gets down when the car breaks and finds another transportation, when a particular body is damaged or becomes too old, the soul transmigrates to another body, accepting new bodies just as someone changes his clothes. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and unsoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. In a battle, weapons like swords, spears, bullets, and bombs are used. However, being a non-material particle, the soul can't be harmed by any of these weapons. The soul can't be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. The individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. The soul is eternally existing, can live anywhere, and is unchangeable. The soul can't be moved against his will, nor his transfer to another body can be stopped. Understanding this, how can someone kill or be killed by someone? Arjuna knew about this, but due to the severity of the situation, his knowledge became temporarily covered. Similarly, all of us are originally spiritual particles full of knowledge, eternity, and bliss. However, becoming engrossed in the temporality of this material world, our knowledge becomes covered, and we are overwhelmed by hankering and lamentation. Just as the Bhagavad Gita helped Arjuna to regain his position of knowledge, it can also help us to surpass the fear and lamentation derived from the temporary nature of this world and regain our original condition. Even if someone will disregard the eternality of the soul and accept the atheistic view that life appears alongside the body and is lost forever with the destruction of the body, still there will not be a reason to lament. This idea is actually not new. Even in antiquity, there were philosophers that thought in that way, like the Lokayatikas and Vaibhashikas. These philosophies are similar to the conclusions of classical Buddhism and the modern materialistic view of the cosmos. If, however, life appears just due to the combination of material elements, still there is no reason to lament, since no one laments due to the loss of a small amount of chemicals. Even in such doctrines, the ones who understand this seek for enlightenment instead of being absorbed in the temporality of this world. In both cases, whatever one accepts or not the existence of the soul, there is no reason to lament, as Krishna mentions. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O might armed. In this connection, we can understand that the modern view that life is short and thus one should enjoy as much as possible is simply based on illusion. The final result is that one lives a troubled life, engrossed in anxiety and lamentation, and at the end he has to accept the negative results of his actions according to the law of karma, a double loss. Krishna therefore frankly suggests that, considering the different sides of the problem, Arjuna should fight, fulfilling his duty instead of abandoning everything and going to meditate in the forest, as he considered. This is also a very important lesson for us, since we sometimes have the propensity of running away from the problems instead of facing them. Even when it comes to spiritual life, we frequently have the idea of abandoning everything and going to meditate in the mountains, but this is precisely what Krishna recommends Arjuna not to do. Later in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reveals that the message of the Bhagavad Gita was transmitted before to kings and leaders of the society. A king is someone who can't whimsically reject his duties. Whatever the situation is, he has to stay and deal with the problem. He is someone who has to forge his spiritual path at the same time he deals with all the complexities of running a kingdom and protecting the citizens. This is what makes the Bhagavad Gita so useful for us. It teaches how one can become spiritually advanced even while dealing with all the complexities of modern life. This is why the Bhagavad Gita is as up to date as ever. The key is not in changing our place or occupation, but in changing our consciousness. Therefore, the situation of Arjuna is especially interesting, since if he could become self-realized while fighting in a war, certainly we also can, no matter what our situation or occupation is. However, this is just the beginning. To understand we are not this body is just the first step on the path of self-realization. How exactly can we realize this, not only in a shallow intellectual way, but in the deepest sense? What is the final goal and what is the path to reach it? See you in the next episode.